Ho ho ho, Yadada son and nerdy friends, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and whatever winter festival keeps you sane. Welcome back to DepDiv Podcast, where the cookies are sweet, the takes are spicy, and the facts, oh yes, the facts come with receipts. I hope you're listening to this while pretending to relax, maybe with hot cocoa, maybe with eggnog, maybe with that quiet existential dread we all gift ourselves every December. Don't worry, you're among friends, slightly cynical friends, nerdy friends, the best kind. Today's episode is festive in theme only because nothing says Christmas cheer like state power, denial, and a woman who refused to shut up for nearly a decade. Ho ho holly accountability, Batman. So let's talk about Susanna Liew. If you don't know the name, here's the short version. Her husband, Pastor Raymond Koh, was abducted in broad daylight, like action movie style, by masked men, multiple vehicles, synchronized timing, the kind of thing that definitely does not happen without some very professional coordination. For years, the official response was basically, weird. Anyway, but Susanna Liew did not accept the government's favorite legal strategy, shrugging. Instead, she did something radical, dangerous, and frankly exhausting. She asked questions. She demanded answers. She stayed annoying, legally speaking, for almost 10 years. And now, after all that time, all that resistance, all that institutional stonewalling, she won a legal victory acknowledging state responsibility in the abduction. Let's be clear, this isn't a feel-good Hallmark ending. There's no miracle reunion, no snow falling gently as justice sings carols. But this victory matters because it says something powerful and deeply uncomfortable. The truth doesn't expire just because the people in power are tired of being asked about it. And honestly, that's a very un-Christmas-like message, which makes it perfect for this show.
So this right here is that moment of validation. You can just picture her standing on the steps of the Kuala Lumpur High Court after fighting for almost a decade and finally saying these words. This was it, the first official acknowledgement of the truth she'd been shouting from the rooftops for so long. It was a stunning, hard-won legal victory, and it made headlines.
Okay, so to really get the weight of that victory, we have to go back, way back to the beginning. The day it all started, February 13th, 2017. It was just a normal Monday morning. Pastor Koh leaves his house for a meeting. Just a completely ordinary start to a day that would turn into anything but.
And this grainy CCTV image is pretty much the only visual we have of what happened next. So Pastor Koh's just driving along, and then bam! A whole convoy of black SUVs and motorcycles just swarms his car, boxing him in. One person who saw it happen later said they thought it was a movie shoot. I mean, that's how dramatic, professional, and incredibly fast this all was.
Let's just break down what we're looking at here, because the details tell a very specific story. We're talking masked men jumping out, smashing the window, dragging Pastor Koh into one of their SUVs. His car was taken too. The whole thing was over in less than a minute. The family knew right away this was not a typical crime. It was just too clean, too meticulous. And here's the real kicker. There was never, ever a ransom note. This was not about money.
The abduction itself was terrifying, right? But that was just the beginning of the nightmare. What came next was years of grief, but also years of pure frustration, as the family's desperate search for any kind of answer just slammed into a wall of official denial and what felt like deliberate misdirection.
And this quote, wow, this tells you everything you need to know about the official response. As that CCTV footage started going viral and the public started demanding answers, the message from Malaysia's police chief at the time wasn't, "We'll get to the bottom of this." It was an order. Please shut up. That really set the tone for everything that followed.
So after months of pressure, the police finally offered up a theory. They said Pastor Koh was taken by a drug trafficking ring. They even arrested some guy. But the whole story just fell apart. Malaysia's Independent Human Rights Commission investigated it and came back and said, nope, the police's leads were simply not credible. It was, just as the family had suspected all along, a total red herring. And this detail right here might be the most revealing one from those early days. The very same night, her husband is violently snatched off the street. Susanna Liew is brought in and interrogated by the police for 5 hours. But they weren't asking about the kidnappers. They were grilling her about her husband's work as a pastor and these allegations that he was trying to convert Muslims. So from day one, the focus wasn't on the criminals, it was on the victim.
Quick pause before we continue, because even during the holidays, algorithms must be appeased. If you're enjoying this episode, if you like your podcasts, thoughtful, slightly sarcastic, and allergic to nonsense, then please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with that one friend who always says, interesting at dinner and ruins dessert. Your clicks don't just help the show. They tell the internet, yes, I enjoy complex ideas with jokes. I am emotionally complicated. And for that, we respect you. All right, back to the regularly scheduled discomfort.
So, for years, it really looked like the truth was just going to stay buried under all these official denials. But then, in May of 2018, that wall of silence finally started to crack.
The breakthrough came from a police sergeant who decided to become a whistleblower. He showed up late one night with an absolute bombshell of a confession. He said the police's own elite unit, the Special Branch, was behind the abduction. He even gave them the motive, that they saw Pastor Koh as a threat to Islam. And he provided a crucial piece of physical evidence. A gold-colored car that was seen near the abduction site was traced directly to a guy who worked for the Special Branch.
Now, you've got this whistleblower's crazy story, right? Well, it gets backed up, not by one, but by two different official investigations. The Malaysian Human Rights Commission pointed the finger directly at the Special Branch. A government task force came to a very similar conclusion, blaming what they called irresponsible rogue cops inside that same unit. Either way, the secret was out.
All of this, the family's relentless persistence, the whistleblower's bravery, the official reports, it all paved the way for Susanna Liew's civil lawsuit. This was the final step, the big showdown, a reckoning that was nearly a decade in the making.
And the High Court's verdict? It was decisive. The judge found senior police officials and the entire Royal Malaysian Police directly liable for the abduction and what they called a conspiracy resulting in harm. And on top of that, because police are agents of the state, the judge declared the Malaysian government itself vicariously liable, which is basically legal speak for your employees did this, so you, the government, are on the hook for it. The state was officially held accountable.
But this ruling had some real teeth. The court ordered the government to pay 10,000 ringgit to a trust for every single day that Pastor Koh remains missing. That is an extraordinary penalty, and it's designed to put continuous financial pressure on them until they finally reveal where he is.
A historic verdict, a financial penalty. It really feels like an ending, doesn't it? So, is the case finally closed? Well, you'd think so, but the answer unfortunately is no, not even close.
The stark reality is, this fight is far from over. The government is appealing the verdict. To this day, not a single police official has been arrested or punished for this. In fact, one of the main suspects was actually promoted later on. And, most importantly, Pastor Raymond Koh is still missing.
And that brings us right back to the human cost, captured perfectly in Susanna Liew's own words. This legal victory, as monumental as it is, doesn't bring her husband back. It doesn't answer that agonizing question of whether he's dead or alive. It's a form of justice that has to exist alongside this unbearable uncertainty, trapping the family in what she calls being frozen in grief.
As we wrap this up, let's circle back to why this story matters, especially during the holidays. When justice doesn't bring closure, what does a victory even mean? It means that while governments move slowly, quietly, and often sideways, individual persistence is loud. Susanna Liew didn't have power. She didn't have armies of lawyers at first. She just had memory, patience, and a refusal to let the story die. Which brings me to our producer. Huge holiday shout out to FireflyHaku, because much like Susanna Liew, FireflyHaku specializes in shining inconvenient light where people would prefer darkness, and somehow making it look calm, organized, and slightly stylish while doing it. Truth with good lighting, we love to see it. And to you, dear listener, thank you for spending part of your holiday season with us. Whether you're escaping family drama, washing dishes, or pretending to listen while rethinking your life choices, we see you, we appreciate you. From all of us here at Deep Dive Podcast, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, stay curious, stay skeptical, and don't let anyone tell you that asking questions is unseasonable. See you next episode. Maple,